Hi, I'm Lisa from For the Punks. In case you don't know, For the Punks is a publication for fans and creators to connect, learn, and grow with each other. Joining me today is Leah. How are you doing today?
Hello, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I love this outlet, so I'm happy to be here.
Oh, we're so happy to hear that. No, that's awesome. So, you've had a crazy year last year, 2021. You released Jersey Boy. How are you feeling that it's out now?
I'm feeling good. It's kind of crazy seeing things still happening. I released it in August, and I feel like life has not slowed down or, given me a break from it since then, which is honestly an amazing thing to say. There's been a lot of good feedback and, random bursts of positivity and cool like opportunities and stuff like that happening since I did release my first EP. So that's been going great. And then I had a release in December, which just kind of like picked that back up again. So it's been crazy. And now we're in the new year and it's not stopping now.
2022. What are some of the opportunities that you've gotten?
Yeah, I've had it's just kind of been an influx of shows. I've done most of my shows in Los Angeles, and then I got to perform in Nashville, and I just did a show in New Jersey last month. So just being able to do all those performances and shows, and most of them were after the EP release. I think a couple of them might have been before, but it was really in the back end of the year. Yeah, and then other like awesome interview opportunities, some editorial placements, which has been the first time that's ever happened to me in my artist career. So yeah, that's just this year has had just so much of that, or I guess last year now. Haha.
What, what has been your favorite show that you've played? Because you've played around all of the US, so like has anything stood out to you?
Yeah. Oh, out of all the shows I've played, I want to say, I mean, there's a few memorable ones for sure that have stuck in my mind so much the past couple of months. And I want to say, like, the biggest one and the craziest one was my one at Viper Room, which was right before I came to the East Coast. So I performed there in November. And that was like a 1 a.m. show. So it was crazy. My favorite one in LA, I think, was my first one. No, it was my second show in LA of 2021. And it was at Adults Only in Hollywood. And it was a breaking sound show. I think I want to say like the second to last artist. And that entire bar, the energy was absolutely incredible. The whole entire place was packed. And that was just like my favorite moment. I just remember my guitarist wasn't there for that show because he had another obligation. And me and the drummer always like give him crap about it because he never got to see it. He's like, I saw the videos, but I wasn't there. And I'm like, that was still our best show and you didn't get to go to it. So we're trying to top that one this year, I guess.
In regards to shows, do you feel like it's gotten easier since you've started your career?
Well, I feel like there's two ways to answer that. I feel like it's been easier as in I've gotten more comfortable, and I mean, I've been performing my whole life, but performing as like an alternative pop artist versus like performing in a choir or acoustic. It's very different. And using in-ears and having tracks and having entrances and cues, like that has been something so new to me that I absolutely love, but it's been a challenge to try and perfect that. So that's just been a big thing. But then as far as like getting shows and kind of lining things up, I'm very, very lucky to have been asked to play most of the shows. I haven't really had to seek out many opportunities yet. So I think this year I'm going to try and hopefully get like a tour or something new going on. And I'm definitely going to have to put in the work for that. But I'm excited to see what comes of that.
What artists would you want to go on tour with? Like your dream lineup?
My dream lineup. Oh, I feel like I say the same people every time, and I feel like they think I'm obsessed with them, but I just really admire them. I want to say, I think an amazing lineup would be like me. I would consider myself the opener, and I just think because I want to open up for like artists that are a little bit not a little bit like much bigger than me, that have been doing this longer and kind of established themselves. So I would be honored to open. I want to open for Charlotte Sands. I'm not sure if that'll
Love
ever
her.
happen, but it's a
Yeah.
dream. And then I just I said these guys' names in an interview before. They're gonna like think I'm crazy, but I just got into this band called Sherry Amore. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Oh, what kind of music are they?
They're like new pop punks, like NU pop punk. At least that's how they describe themselves. So I feel like that would be like the sickest lineup because it has a lot of the pop punk elements that I'm really looking to go into. But there's still some more modern and like poppy elements. But I would say like that would probably be my dream lineup. But there's just so many artists that I would just be honored to share the stage with, even if it's like a festival and I'm not opening for them, but I'm still on the same lineup as them.
Yeah, and it'll bring in like the audience that you'd want that would love all of your music together because it is so like I miss like the punk festivals with the COVID and everything. We haven't really been able to go to those anymore. And it's just like it sucks. So that'd
I
be such a fun
know.
lineup.
Yeah, I think that would be really cool. Other than that, I feel like there's a couple other artists that are probably more poppy or like I could see myself opening up for like Neon Trees or just somebody that has kind of revamped themselves in like 2020, 2021 and whatnot, but had like hits back in the day. I feel like that would be a really cool opportunity as well. But I miss the festivals too. I want Warp Tour to come back so bad. Right now we have emo night though. So
Yeah.
that's been fulfilling,
But no, I agree. Warped Tour should come back. I feel so bad for especially like the smaller artists because I felt like that was such a good opportunity to get your name out there across the US, build a fan base right there and then. So
Exactly. Yeah, I had friends that played Warped, and it's just like, I mean, you would get the audience that you really want. You would get the target audience. You would meet a bunch of new people, and I feel like something will come back. I just don't think anyone wants to start it in this mess.
I know, I know. Well, probably like the next 5 years, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully sooner. God, I can't wait that long. I'm getting old.
Going back to your EP, so it's been out. How do you feel about it? Do you feel like really happy with it? Do you feel like, oh, there's some things that I could have worked on, or I wish that I promoted it differently? What are your thoughts on that?
That's a good question. I feel like it's been about 6 months since my EP release, and I feel like I always listen back to some of the songs and I'm like, well, what if this happened or what if I made this part bigger? But at the same time, I just think it was so perfect for what it was at that moment because I have been going from such a poppy background. I was really into indie pop. I still am, but I was just really obsessed with like modern pop and indie pop and I really wanted to like shift away from that. And even though that EP is still very, very poppy, I feel like the instrumentation and the production and then like some vocal techniques and stuff that I was doing and whatnot have finally bridged the like or built a bridge into like the next part of my sound. So where it is perfect where it is. But I do listen back every once in a while and I'm like, what if this went harder? But I mean, yeah, it's been a while and it feels like I'm just happy it's out. Like I'm happy it exists and people know that story. And I was so inspired when I was writing it. I feel like I've just been continuing to be ridiculously inspired after I started writing that.
It's like a little time capsule. So like it's just that's who you were at the moment, even if you wanted to go back and do something different. I'm proud of
Exactly.
you.
Yeah.
What was the writing process like for it? Like how long did everything take? What were
I
some of your inspirations?
So a lot of it, and this is my favorite way to answer it because it's so 2020 2021. I wrote most of it on TikTok with like prompts that artists were putting up and asking other singers and writers to write to. I think before that I was on this mentality like every a couple of months, maybe 2 songs a year. I wasn't really getting super inspired, and I think it was because I wasn't writing in the genre that I was meant to write in. Cause like before I decided to be a pop artist, I was always listening to like, sad emo music, sitting and writing my stuff at the piano. So when I had to try to change that into pop, I think it was a big challenge. So I think the TikTok thing, like just seeing all these artists come up on my page and having like stuff to write to really, really sparked up my creativity. And then I found like a new style of writing and I was like, this is exactly like this is so easy. like this is like second nature to me. Like I didn't those songs like I didn't even think about them. Like they just happened. Like they were so easy to write, and it's now thankfully been like that from there on out.
No, that's awesome. And I think TikTok is such a great platform to grow an audience and to try things out. And what has your experience been like with it, not writing, but just posting and promoting your music on there?
Yeah, I also like work in social media. I'm trying to drift away from it a little bit, but I had a really big passion for social media because I was in an a cappella group that wound up going viral on social media before social media was what it is today. And so I got to see how things went viral before everyone else knew how they went viral. And I got to see it as a marketing tool for artists. So, I keep seeing on my For You page all these artists being like, oh, I hate this. I have to promote my music on TikTok just to make art. And that's a very valid opinion. And I know a lot of artists feel that way, but I'm different because I love the marketing and business side of music. So I find it to be an amazing creative outlet for like my video editing and my creativity. And I've just had so much fun coming up with little story videos. I don't post as much as I should, but I like to put my energy in other places where I know that, my fans and friends will see my stuff, and maybe I'll get better in the new year with TikTok, but I do really love it as a creative outlet and a marketing tool for artists, for indie artists specifically.
I think before we relied so much on record labels, and here you have an opportunity to kind of do it yourself, do it the way you want to do it. So it's pretty cool.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about your single, Take You on Tour, because it's a little slower than your other songs. It's a little bit different. So I wanted to ask you, why did you feel like this was an important song to include on the EP?
I feel like I've dodged so many bullets with that song because like most publications are like, oh, the upbeat song, Pebbles, Candy Coated, tell me about them. And then I'll be like just talking to friends or people online and they'll be like, Take You on Tour is my favorite one. Like, why don't you talk about it more? And I did make a little story time video, I think, on TikTok about it. But I used to write in like such a specific way where I would either sit at a guitar or like at a piano, and my music was like very poetic, but almost a little too singer-songwriter. I want to say like forever and always my writing style will be compared or similar to Secondhand Serenade. It's like John, he's one of my favorite artists. And so he had such an impact on me growing up. So I feel like Take You on Tour, like didn't think about all the modern or all the like, how can this song be catchy? How can this sell? How can this relate to other people? It kind of reminded me of what I was used to be writing when I was in like middle school and high school. Obviously better, but it brought me back to that type of songwriting. So it was kind of just like, I don't care how this song fits on the EP and what people think about it. It was kind of a message and a story that I wanted to write, and I did. And then I was just like, hey, Joe did a great job of my producer, Joey. He did a great job of like putting it together on the EP. So it sounded, fluid, but yeah, it's different because I guess it's probably like the most realist version of like my writing style. Maybe not my like brand as an artist, but yeah. And it's like super personal song and the most like obvious one on the EP. So
Yeah, no, you can really tell. Yeah, no, I think it really speaks of who you are. That was the reason like it stood out to me. It's because I felt like we got to know like a piece of you compared to the other songs. They're great, but they're like a little bit more poppier. They're a little more like fun. This one's like a little more personal. So I
oh,
really
thanks.
enjoyed it.
I try to find the balance. Like, I don't know. That's the thing is like, what if I put out, like, I always think about putting out my songs that I wrote like early college or high school on just like a burner, like, just like a throwaway CD and be like, I wonder what people would think about this. But I'm like, but it doesn't, I don't know. It just doesn't have the same excitement. It has like the realness of it, but it doesn't have like the excitement of and the energy of the other one. So I always wonder how to like do a good balance. It's always been like a challenge for me.
There is that balance of releasing music that you like versus what your fans will like, especially once you're kind of a little bit more established. There's an expectation of we want to hear the sound.
Exactly.
Do you have that fear of like recording your next album, next singles of, oh, I can't really like step out of the box too much?
I feel like it's like the opposite. I've stepped out of the box so much that it's gonna be like a shock, but it's gonna make sense. And I think it's what I want to do, but it's not something that I could do myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it's not like I'm sitting down and writing everything alone in my room and then I'm gonna put it to an EP. It's like there's way more hands on deck, and it's like the sound that I want to be. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I think about that much. The thought.
Is there anything in particularly when you're sitting down to write music that inspires you? Is it all personal life? Is there any time like you watch a movie and you're like, this would be a cool story to write about?
Yeah, I feel like it's so cliche and very basic, but I feel like I write about one thing, and that's just like my emotions, my feelings, and love. It's like the thing that I care about the most, that at least impacts me the most as a human being. And so I like to go to music to get out those feelings and those frustrations and emotions, or else, it would be pretty scary if I didn't have it. But yeah, just mainly that very cliche, but it has to be done.
Even though like it is quote unquote cliche, I feel like that's why your fans are your fans. Like they know you personally and they get to connect with you. And I was wondering like what is something that you would want your fans to take away from this EP?
I want them, so I'm trying to think. It's like, again, I feel like there's two answers. I want them to interpret the EP any way they want. I want people to listen because it makes them feel good or makes them feel something. That's completely like disassociating from myself. Like I want the people that listen to my music to really actually like it, regardless of who I am as a person. And so there's that takeaway. And I hope all the time that any music I release, like somebody can feel something, get through something, dance around, party, whatever they want to do. I want them to feel what they're feeling through my music. That's a big goal. And then on the other side of it, I want, my fans and my friends and everybody who supports my music to see who I am, because I feel like I am an open book, and most people who talk to me in person, like I have like barely a filter. I'm kind of just like spontaneous and really out there. And so I find it hard to convey that like online sometimes. So I hope that through my music, people like listen to it and they're just like, oh, I know exactly that type of person she is. Like I know who Leah is by just listening to my music.
Because they get to know you so well, because you are such an open book, like when they're listening to you, they're like listening to a friend,
Yeah, that's such a cool way to put it. I never thought of it that way.
So you've done your own music, but you've also done covers. So what was it like recording Lollipop? Why did you pick that specific song?
Yeah, so I actually, surprisingly, Lollipop was my first cover. I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of releasing covers until like I realize how much of like a spin you can put on something, or being like the first like female artist to do that. And I don't know, that was a really cool opportunity. So I picked Lollipop because I'm starting to get into like my punky stage again. I go through phases between like being like punky and then like a hippie. So it's either like a flower child or like a punk, and I like to mix it up with both.
Yeah.
But now I'm in that punky emo phase, and I really, really wanted to get something out there. And so I do karaoke a lot. I also work at a karaoke bar. But
You do so much. How do you have the time?
That's not even the half of it. Yeah, but it's fun. But I love singing like really hard rock songs or like pop punk songs that like people wouldn't normally sing at karaoke. And the one I'll shout out the Good Night, the one karaoke bar I work at in North Hollywood. They have like a lot of their staff like loves like hard rock and metal and stuff like that. So it's funny because it's like the one karaoke bar, like most places you see like the classics like Valerie and Santeria, but like here you get like Linkin Park and like a bunch of obscure stuff that we all like to listen to too. So I always sang Lollipop at karaoke. Yeah, so the Framing Hanley version, which is the pop punk slash like rock metal, I don't know what you would call it. That like a little bit of more hardcore version. That one was on well, I loved that one growing up, and it's been like 15 years since it's been released. And that one was on that was on YouTube as a karaoke track, and it was just like someone just like took the words off. It was this unofficial version, but I would always sing to it at karaoke, and everyone would be like, "What's that? That sounds like I never heard that song that way." And so there's that and a couple other songs, but I'm still like thinking about maybe covering some of those other ones, so I won't mention them yet. But yeah, I used to sing it at karaoke, and I was like, this is so fun. I love how it sounds in my voice, and I just want to say like F it and record a cover of it and just release it literally with like no plan, just release it. And that's what I did.
No, I personally love covers. I know all like artists are kind of scared to release it because I feel like it sometimes can put you in a box. But I think it's cool to see like your personal spin on something and like the way that you process music and the way you think.
Yeah, it's cool when people do it a different way. I find it really intriguing when like someone takes a song. Like I always like the what is it? Punk goes pop, or no, pop goes punk, or like acoustic goes punk, you know, when they had those rendition of those CDs out. Those are always so cool. So I like when people change it up like that. I think that's really awesome.
And I think it's funny when people don't realize it's a cover. Like the
Yeah,
amount of times like for Muse like feeling good like ever like I know so many people who didn't realize like that's not their song, it's a cover. It's so funny.
it's crazy. It's crazy how like you people can find music they've like almost never heard before through somebody else because they did it a different way. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very awesome.
Yeah, Måneskin's like blowing up right now with begging, and that again, that's just a cover. They're playing it everywhere.
It's been a cover for like centuries, or no, for like decades. Centuries, for decades it's been a cover. It's definitely that's a great song.
Overall, how did you get your start in music?
Hmm. Um, I started out as a child, as a small child. I was just always in, I want to say like, well, I grew up singing in a church, and I was like a cantor for most of my life up until like a couple years ago. So I did a lot of my singing there. I played the piano a lot for that. And then I was in plays and choirs. And so that was really, like, I say this every time, but like there's literally like nothing else I did. Like I wouldn't have done anything else. Like there's like nothing else in this world that I would do other than music. Like I can have fun doing other things and hobbies, but it's just like I always knew. So I kind of just put myself in a path of I'm gonna be doing music for the rest of my life. So what is gonna get me there at the right time and sooner, and you know, and then I just kind of went to school for it and moved out to Los Angeles. And yeah, I really try to put myself out there and get to meet as many people as possible and share experiences with people and go to concerts and yeah, right. That's just the path that I put myself on.
What has been your experience like in LA? Because I'm in LA. I know like the culture can be a little bit hard. Like, what was it like moving out here?
It was at first, so my school had a program that we did, and I did the music program, and I was even in the music program in Los Angeles, but it was a school in North Carolina, and they brought us out for a summer. I was there for 2 summers before I permanently moved out there. So it was really hard at first. I don't ever really have a hard time making friends. I'm pretty, you know, I bounce around groups. I just love meeting people. So in that sense, it was easy to just always have something fun to do. But I don't think something I regret is not getting into the music industry in Los Angeles sooner than I did, because most of the students that came out with me for the program, you know, a couple of the music students don't live there anymore, and then some of the rest of them are film. And so I was introduced into like the film industry when I moved out to Los Angeles. So when I mean, that was kind of like what a lot of people move out to LA to do. So I kind of got sucked into that for a little bit, and it just wasn't for me. I love video editing, and I've always had a really good time doing that, but I'd obviously rather do it for music purposes. So I regret not meeting music people and going to more shows and putting myself out there when I first moved out there. So, you know, as far as like, you know, you're like saying the culture of LA, like I feel like I got a different side of it, and now I'm finally like I've been out there for 6 years, like 4 permanently almost. And now I'm finally like seeing the music side of it. And I'm getting to like, there's like groups of musicians and really cool people that I've met that I just get to like hang out with and write with. And I just like it came so late. Like I wish I was doing that for like years, but it's a hard thing to find, I think, out there. It's hard to like find the right people that inspire you.
Yeah, and everything happens for a reason. I think sometimes, even though it might happen a bit later, maybe you're just like meant to be. Maybe like this is your moment to shine. I feel like a lot of people out here get really famous really young and then like spiral a little bit down. So maybe like getting some, I don't know, some experience, some knowledge helps out in the process. So
Yeah, it's good to see what you're working with,
yeah,
especially like, kind of watching from the sidelines and getting like a little bit of taste of everything and like, you see what you don't like and then you find what you do like. So yeah, I completely agree with that. I mean, it definitely all worked out for the right reason.
what can fans expect now that it's 2022?
Mhm. I am so excited. I like can't stop writing, which is really amazing because I used to feel that way when I was younger. And then I think during college, I kind of lost that a bit, but now it's back again. So hopefully it doesn't go away. I've been writing. I don't know if it's how many songs are gonna be out. So I don't want to make any predictions on that, but I am starting to lean really into the pop punk music and that sound. So it's gonna be not as drastic as Lollipop, but it's not going to be as poppy as Jersey Boy. So I'm really excited to like find that balance and release new songs this year. So those are in the works. I've been flying to Nashville to work on them with Chase Coy. And so he's finishing those up and we'll have a new release hopefully really soon. Just planning that the yearly quarters out for releases.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, hopefully collabs too. I'm pretty sure there will be a couple collaborations there as well because I've been really wanting to do some of those. I'm not a big planner, so I just know that when I get creative, I want to get stuff done. But like other than that, I don't have any set plan, but I have like a little like a thought, an idea in my head of what to expect or what's to come.
What advice do you have for someone who's looking to get their start in the music industry?
My favorite thing to say is ask questions. If you don't know something, look it up. If you don't know where to find it, ask people who've done it before, ask people who have been there before. I feel like learning and asking questions and gaining knowledge is so valuable, and it makes everything less scary. A lot of the times artists don't know where to start. And I think, looking at what other artists are doing and what's, going well, how are they rising to what they are, just like kind of taking that as inspiration and really like putting yourself out there. I know there's a ton of artists or just like younger artists that I've spoken to that are so unsure of who to talk to and what to do, and they're like kind of, I mean, I don't know, a lot of artists are introverted, right? Like a lot of artists have a lot of emotions and thoughts and they get it out through their music. So I think it's being confident and comfortable and really stepping outside of your comfort zone to do things that make you a bit uncomfortable just to get to a place that you see yourself, or make goals for yourself and put yourself out there. I think that's really important because we can't just stay sitting in one spot and expect everything to come to you. It's really like putting in the work and being okay that it's going to be really hard. You're going to cry and you're going to be miserable some of the time, but it's worth it. I think it's worth it. So I don't know if that advice was good. I kind of suck at giving advice,
No,
but
I think that was fair. I think that was good. Do you want to shout out any of your social media?
oh yeah, yeah. So my name is Leah with spaces as of right now. And my social media is at LOL it's Leah. You can go anywhere at LOL it's Leah, lolitsleah.com. That's where you find me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking time to speak to us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be like a part of this, and I can't wait to continue looking at your channel and what you guys do. And I love For the Pongs.
Thank you.
Thank you.